Peace family, welcome back to Bay's Kids. I'm your host, EMERI Bay, and on today's show, we're going to be doing a reading of a very, very special book, and it is called COS-ME-TOLOGY from the desk of R.B. Bay. So if you want to read this book with me, stick around. So this is the cover, and it reads, "From the cosmos to me, COS-ME-TOLOGY, the truth about your hair. Your hair is your antennae for the purpose of sending and receiving impulses, thought, to and from the cosmos." The inside. We are spiritual, chemical, electrical, divine beings. We transmit and receive at the same time. It is only natural that we would be equipped with antennae. The forcing of the picking of cotton also served as a psychological disdain for our hair, which is our antennae. No wonder we took so much pride carving our own hair combs and ornaments. In fact, we vibrated so high that we wore turbans to cut down on the clutter and bring clearer focus. The bandana that was depicted on the head of Aunt Jemima was a remnant of that turban. In our ignorance, we forced the manufacturers to change her hair into an unnatural perm. Changing it back to the turban would have been better, but this we owe to our lack of knowledge, and through our lack of knowledge, we perish. We once had a full understanding of our makeup. Now we are left with only a strand. I am hoping through that strand we will come into knowledge of self and the spiritual laws. These laws must be applied to our lives, not only for our individual salvation, but for the salvation of the people as a whole. The generations coming behind you want knowledge of truth. They want to keep it real. R.B. Bay. First section, 400 years without a clue. Today we are returning to natural hair care, which leads us to return to natural hairstyles. Anciently, we always took great pride in our hair. We designed hair ornaments as well as hair picks, some made of ivory and elaborate stones with jewels on them. Once placed into slavery, we were not able or allowed to care for our hair. In fact, we were made to pick cotton as a psychological tool to make us hate our hair. In its unkept condition, it resembled cotton. One of the most important things we must realize about our hair is that it is actually our antennae. We were literally tuned out when we no longer could take care of our hair, our antennae. Forced conditions were created when we slept in barns on straw and picked up bugs, lice, etc. The generations to follow developed a flat-out hatred of their hair and unknowingly were tuned out even further. I am so pleased to see this generation coming back into a fold of consciousness. I would like to express a great appreciation for their innate desire to wear their hair naturally. This will raise their consciousness and increase their thought power, as their antennae will be clear. The major component of the hair is silicone. Silicone is used in the memory of computers. Hair grows in a spiral that is threaded out of the scalp. It grows in a crystal formation, as in quartz. Quartz is used in many electronic devices. In fact, the first TV was called the quartz set. Is it starting to register that your hair is your antennae? Is it starting to register that your hair is your antennae? Hair is responsible for your telepathy and perception, your third eye awareness. Everyone needs to take a moment to meditate. Some call it prayer. In simple terms, we need to take time to think to receive thought impulses. When we think, we send out and receive thoughts, soundless sound. Your hair is the primary component in that process. It carries currents from your body as sound through the hair, filaments, and receives currents as soundless sound called thought. Hair is present on the head of a fetus before other parts of the body develop. The developing body needs the signal sent via the hair. If you have ever seen an ultrasound of a fetus, you would see the hairline of a child, and with that, you could possibly tell if the hairline was male or female. Your vibratory rate sets the pattern that your hair will follow. With that being the case, your hair needs to be maintained in its natural state. It certainly does not need to be destroyed by the use of unnatural chemicals and products. The first thing to stop putting in is perms and dyes in the scalp. Not only do they destroy the silicone, it kills the golden spiral of the hair, seeps into your brain, and destroys brain cells. It has been reported during autopsies of women, a blue-like gel inside the head covering the brain. At first, they did not know what it was. It was tested and found to be the chemicals from relaxers and dyes that women put in their hair over a long period of time. Dyes temporarily alter your vibratory state. Relaxers permanently remove the golden spiral. Hair weaves are hair that belongs to someone else. Therefore, they add another being's vibratory state onto your own head, and you can pick up their karma. Additionally, hair weaves do not allow your natural hair to breathe. You pick up other people's karma, and they yours through combs, brushes, hairpins, etc. Hats, wave scarves, and underwear also pick up and carry vibratory rates. Hair is located on points of the body which receive and send the most signals: head, eyebrows, eyelashes, underarms, genitals, face, chest, ears, nose, and fine body hair. The hair on the eyebrows help bring consciousness to the pineal gland. The eyelashes bring consciousness to your eyes. The armpits are the seat of the mammary glands. A woman's mammary glands, breasts, are not only larger than men, they actually function as an output. This is why a man usually has and needs hair on his chest. The hair on the genitals bring consciousness during the act of sexual reproduction. It aids in bringing in a child with a high vibratory rate, provided the parents have a high vibratory rate. If your vibratory rate is low, you usually attract the same. And here we have a diagram of the description of a strand of hair. So part one is the cuticle, which is the protective covering. Cortex is the insulation. Medulla is the antennae. Hole is a path for transmission and reception. And this is what it looks like. Hair growth over the years. Every 7 years, the hair changes its molecular structure. You are a chemical, electrical, magnetic, spiritual, divine being. Your hair is alive. It responds to light, air, water, heat, electricity, and music. It has a life cycle and life force. Natural products are alive, and they have a life force. Use natural products. You can orally take the biochemical cellular tissue salt, silica. The silica cell salt can be taken daily to keep your connection strong. Consult with a natural cosmetologist for other products that have natural and herbal contents. Glands and hair. Glands have a very important job in our bodies to secrete and or eliminate necessary or unnecessary substances. If they malfunction, it directly affects our health and our life. Gland. A cell, a group of cells, or an organ that produces a secretion for use elsewhere in the body or in a body cavity or for elimination from the body. Definition B of gland. Any of various organs, such as lymph nodes, that resemble true glands but perform a non-secretory function. The definition of an endocrine gland is any of various glands, such as the thyroid, adrenal, or pituitary, having hormonal secretions that pass directly into the bloodstream, also called ductless gland. Definition of the pineal gland. a small cone-shaped organ in the brain of most vertebrates that secretes the hormone melatonin and serotonin, also called pineal body and epiphysis. As mentioned earlier, hair is placed on areas of the body which receive signals, such as the eyebrows for signals to the pineal gland. The pineal gland is an endocrine gland that regulates the production of the hormone melatonin as well as serotonin. In some lower vertebrates, the gland has a well-developed eye-like structure. In others, though not organized as an eye, it functions as a light receptor. The definition of melatonin: a hormone derived from serotonin and produced by the pineal gland that stimulates color change in the epidermis of amphibians and reptiles, but whose function in mammals is not clear. Etymology of melatonin comes in Greek, it means melas, so melatonin, black tonin. Okay. Melatonin is secreted by the pineal gland, especially in response to darkness. Melanin gives us pigmentation of skin and hair. If you do not have melanin, you will develop skin diseases such as melanoma, as well as other deficiencies. Melanin is secreted during the sleep state between the hours of 11 p.m. and 5 p.m. If you do not get proper sleep, your melatonin level drops, causing depression and hallucinations. Eventually, we must return to the sleep world. The definition of serotonin: an organic compound formed from tryptophan and found in animal and human tissue, especially the brain, blood serum, and gastric mucous membranes, and active in the vasoconstriction, stimulation of the smooth muscles, transmission of impulses between nerve cells, and regulation of cyclic body processes. Serotonin. Serotonin is also secreted by the pineal gland and is produced during the waking hours of 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. We require a balanced amount of awareness and activity during the day, during the daylight or sunlight. Too much serotonin will create insomnia. We spend 1/3 of our lives sleeping. The question has been posed as to which world is the real world: the dream state of mind or the awake state of mind. Definition of mammary: it's an adjective of or relating to a breast or mama. Definition of a mammary gland: noun, milk-producing glands in female mammals, consisting of lobes containing clusters of alveoli with a system of ducts to convey the milk to an external nipple or teat, regulated by the endocrine system. These glands typically occur in pairs and begin secreting milk when young are born. They become functional in response to the hormonal changes associated with parturition. Rudimentary and generally non-functional in males. These definitions are from the American Heritage Dictionary of the English Language, 3rd edition. So, next page. More generational history. More generational history. This one says, when the afro reappeared on the scene in the mid-1960s, hair products were manufactured at an alarming rate. They were developed, packaged, and sold without having been researched or tested. They were disguised to fool the people. No thought or study could have been given to developing a proper product yet. Products were suddenly on the shelves of stores everywhere. Above, well, that was an excerpt from the book 400 Years Without a Comb by William Morrow, 1973. So you should pick that book up too. During slavery, we began to hate our hair. We had no tools to groom it properly, and at one point attempted to use a kitchen fork to comb it. William Morrow's book, 400 Years Without a Comb, actually points out some of the gross horrors we experienced. We went through generations of hating ourselves and our hair. This disdain, of course, was passed down to our children. Eventually, we indulged in the practice of cutting our hair off. We made use of barbers, which are really associated and defined as one who grooms beards, a tonsorialist. T.M. Morgan had a line of barbershops in the 1800s. Madam C.J. Walker is accredited with creating a line of hair products and developed the most popular hot comb straightening method. At the time, we still didn't know the purpose and importance of our hair or how to maintain it naturally. We wanted our hair to be anything other than what it was. Particularly, we wanted our head of hair to look like Europeans. Looking like them became a part of our psyche, and it was a direct result of the programs used to control our psyche and disconnect our spirituality during forced servitude. We, being disconnected and lacking knowledge of self, did not know about our own hair, and certainly not about theirs. Other than the difference in appearance, we were not aware that their hair is not composed like ours at all. In fact, their mane resembles characteristics associated with fur rather than hair. It grows straight out of the skin instead of in a spiral threaded through the skin. It is closed and pointed at the end. It has a weak electrical, magnetic, and chemical capacity. It sheds moisture and lacks melatonin. When wet, it carries a very specific odor. It acts as a cushion that provides insulation, warmth, and protection from the sun. Therefore, it is a sunblock for sensitive skin that cannot withstand exposure to the sun. In the 1960s, we came on the scene with the afro and afro puffs. Most were not aware that these were worn previously by our ancient ancestors. The afro and afro puffs were sometimes referred to as the natural. Economically, it hurt finances of those who had learned to shave our hair. The barbers began to lose finance. The European population had never learned how to cut or groom our hair, but they quickly placed untested products on the market for the natural. Their financial gain was vested in the products that appealed to us through marketing packages. By the 1980s, they used a strong icon to create an image for women that would secure their continued investment. It was the disco era, and Donna Summers. She was the epitome of what a woman's hair could look like. Her hair was long with what appeared to be soft curls, and it somewhat resembled in appearance to the Europeans' hair. Women flocked to that image and flocked to stores to purchase the perms. Perms have been an accepted process to this day. In our psyche, we still wanted to be like the European women. We began to color our hair blonde, brunette, burgundy, red, blue, anything other than our typical dark color. The darker the hair, the higher the vibratory rate. These styles are ancient and were created without the use of chemicals and unnatural products. Men and women used to admire and even choose a mate according to their hairstyling. The turban, the royal crown. Many think the wearing of the turban and the fez is a matter of culture, and they may wear it as a matter of ritual without knowing the meaning or purpose behind it. There's a deeper spiritual and universal meaning behind the turban and the fez. They are both national headdresses. The turban worn properly is wrapped with a V point in the center. This represents the pineal and forms the shape of a pyramid. When one is conscious, their pineal gland is no longer calcifying. It is open and active. The fez is worn as a symbol of the womb. The top of it has a nipple-like shape and symbolizes the navel. The strands of the tassel are 360, as in 360 degrees of knowledge. The tassel is not pinned down, as it is in the secret societies. Properly, one who is born in the womb, he or she begins to navigate upon the earth and is endowed with 360 degrees of knowledge that is not pinned down or kept secret. However, it is sacred. The hair is the antennae, and when taken care of naturally and not laced with chemicals or other substances that prevent its potency, one would begin to vibrate higher and pick up frequencies much better. With the knowledge that the hair is the antennae which sits upon our crown, we can begin to appreciate what we place upon it. The head is our crown, and the first thing to develop when we are in the womb. Anything we do to it or place upon it is an extension of and related to the crown and the crown chakra, and affects our ability to vibrate and be in harmony with the energies amongst us. If we vibrate high, as we once did, it may be necessary to tune out the clutter, just as one would tune a radio to its best reception. The turban assists in that, or acts as a buffer. Quick comment. I have to cover my hair. Since I became conscious, that is spot on. Being an empath and all of that, it's a lot of clutter in the radio waves or in the ethers. So I always have to wrap my hair. Even if, some people say that, wigs aren't turbans, but they do help cut down clutter too. So I do sometimes wear wigs, just for fun, but they're not, synthetic wigs. So they're not human hair. I'm not picking up somebody else's karma or anything like that. But yes, girl, I have to cover my hair. So, when my hair is not covered, it's just so much. And then I'll be wondering, what is wrong with me? And I'm like, oh, my hair's not covered. And I'll just run and cover my hair. Major key. Wrapping the turban. The turban is worn correctly when it crosses in the middle, just above the brow, like this, or like this. Many wear the turban to protect their antennae hair. However, they don't necessarily wrap it with the cross above the brow. The reason it ought to be crossed is because it creates the triune symbol and accentuates the pineal. When you wrap a turban upon your head, it is a divine occurrence. Most women look royal and regal with a properly wrapped turban. The dimensions or measurements of the material ought to equal 9. 9 is the number of the divine manifestation from the womb into the physical. This is why information regarding the womb is referred to as the science of the number 9. The knowledge of divine numbers is necessary to gain understanding of how your material ends up to equal 9. There is no number higher than the number 9. All numbers can be reduced to 9, or something under a 9. So the dimensions of material is what she's about to break down. The length of material is to be 108 inches, or 3 yards. There are 36 inches in 1 yard. Times 3, that's 108. 108 equals 9. The width of the material must also equal 9. The wider the material, the higher the turban rises on your head, depending on the material. It is not necessarily becoming to wear the typical store-bought flat turbans because they have no rise or height to them, which lessens your noble appearance. Of course, one would not want to overdo the height either, as it can cause the turban to be heavy and feel burdensome. Some say it represents an inflated ego, much like the old saying of the longer the train of the wedding dress, the larger the ego and vanity of the woman wearing it. Whether that is true or not, there is balance in everything. The width measurements should start at 18 inches, 27 inches, or 36 inches, etc. As long as it is equal to 9. You will find that the results of the height of the turban also depends on the type of material. A thicker material will wrap up larger. A thin material will not. Therefore, as an example, if you usually cut your material to a 27 inch, you may want to cut it into a 36 inch or wider if the material is thin. The best type of material or wrap methods. The absolute best type of material is one with a degree of stretch, but not too much. The stretch material hugs the head and the turban wraps better. Satin is probably the absolute worst material because it slips and slides and tends not to stay in place. A jersey knit type works great. This is jersey knit. A gauze with some stretch is good in the summer seasons. However, you can work with whatever works for you. Just remember to keep the divine numbers in your measurements. Some women wrap two materials on their head to create color coordination. If you want the smooth one-piece wrap look, start with one side of the material being short and wrap that around your head, at least once. Then wrap the longer side around your head, around and around. Others may wrap with a folded edge down, with equal length to each side of your head. Bring both pieces up and make the center a V cross first. Then wrap one side and then the other, while others wrap it towards the back and then create the V during the wrapping. And our last page is called A Hair Twist of the Language. And this just gives some etymology on some words. And the first word is barber. So translated from Latin, barbatoria, which means a shaving of the beard. Barbatus means bearded. Barbisco, wearing a beard. Barbio, to raise a beard. And another word is tonsorial scientist. Tonsorial scientist. So tonsor, meaning hair cutter. Tonsils, the cut or mode of dressing the hair. And our last word that she gives etymology breakdown on is tonstrix and or tonstricula, which means female cutter. So tonsorial scientist, tone, sound, so, thread or hair, and Ra, sun or Elohim. Tonsorial scientist. Tonsora scientist. Tone your threads to talk with the Elohim. The style mode of your hair is the arrangement in diatonic tones of octave. And that's it, guys. The last page does have a picture of the Olmec head. And it says, the Olmec head, Old Mexico, found here in this hemisphere, Asia Major, on the continent of South America, weighs 5 tons, and it's admittedly dated at least 3000 BC by modern scientists who hold debate as to whether it's 5000 BC. Either way, it has its hair fashioned in cornrows. It's seen clearer from behind, it says. A reproduction of it has been placed in the Museum of Natural History in New York. Mackie. And yes, so that is the reading of COS-ME-TOLOGY. Really, really great read, right? She said some really powerful things. One of the things that stuck out to me most was when she was talking about how our head is our antennae, and when we wrap our hair, it cuts down on the clutter of, energies from the ether. I felt that so much because once I decalcified my pineal gland, and once I, the more I kept studying and becoming more conscious, I began to learn more about myself, like being more in tune with myself and knowing what's my energy and what's not my energy. So some days when I would just be, I didn't really take it seriously at first, like that my head was my antennae. But I started to kind of like get really irritated at times. And then I would just be like, what's wrong with me? Like, why am I so irritated? When my head wasn't wrapped. And I would realize, like, maybe I should wrap my hair. Maybe that would work. And so I would wrap it. And then, like, an hour later, I would forget I was even irritated because I'm covered. I'm safe, So that's a really important point. Nowadays I can't do nothing without wrapping my hair for real. Like, like I have to prepare myself mentally. Like I locked my hair since like before. I've been natural for like almost 10 years. So, yeah. So I don't have my afro anymore. I just locked my hair up. But if I do choose to go outside with my box or something like that, which I haven't yet, um, I will mentally prepare myself for that and be like, okay, maybe I got like a few hours before I have to just throw a hood on or something. And that's usually correct. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it could just get to be too much when you're decalcified, when you're conscious. So really take this seriously. The material, the wrap that I have on now is from, if you guys know who Neelam is, uh, she's so dope. But yeah, she started a store called Culture Hijab, and that's the only place I get my hair wraps from as of now. I didn't actually measure it, but it's a nice length. Yeah, I'm gonna measure it though. But it's a nice length. This one is the jersey, so it's kind of stretchy, and it's just so quality. I mean, really, and they're not even that expensive. They're almost $20 a piece, and that's really good because it's super quality. It's in very nice size, and it's very comfortable. And um I'm very sensitive, and I can only wear all natural stuff. Like I can only wear organic stuff. I can only eat organic. I can only do. I'm allergic to fake, literally. So like even like these earrings, like they're not real, and I only had them in for like 10 minutes for this video for you guys, and they're already like irritating me. So I'm ready to take these off, but I'm allergic to fake. So most likely you are too. So try to get the most high quality stuff that you can. And of course, eat clean. Try to eat organic as much as possible. And grow your own food if you can, which I'm sure you can. They have community farms and things like that. You want to start getting into that. And definitely, if you want to get this book, you can go to rvbaypublications.com and you can get your copy. And what else? Do I have anything else to say? If you have anything else to say and you want to discuss this, um, hit me in the comments, or I'll leave the link to our discussion group on melanatedpeople.net in the description as well. I'll also leave the link for where I got my hijab or my wrap from. And also, I just hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time on Baby's Kids. Don't forget to subscribe, okay? Bye.